I'm back again doing another live stream. If you missed the first one I did today at 9 o'clock with Melissa Keenan, the publisher of Heart Open Publishing, I am now here with another author, another priestess that's in our book, Modern-Day High Priestess, Dr. Anka Randgegger. And she's one of my best friends, and she's from Switzerland. And so she is in this book, and she is creating this international bestseller for us because she's in the, another part of the world. And I'm really inspired by Anka all the time. She is an expert in skincare, in organic skincare. She's also a art of feminine presence teacher. And so she really understands the energies of feminine presence, and she supports women with really coming into their presence with easy, effortless tools that work right away. They're immediate, like they work right away. And she has a beautiful story that is included in this book that she's written, that we're all writing together. And Anka, please tell us a bit about yourself and why you decided to say yes to coming into this project with me and Melissa and all the other authors.
Yes, so I also want to welcome you. And I remember when you asked me if I want to be a part of this project, Modern High Priestess, my first reaction was, no, that's not me. I'm not a priestess, and to be honest, it sounded a little bit esoteric to me. And I think you asked me, so what do you think? What is a priestess doing, or what did a priestess do in older times? And I was like, so I think the priestess was a woman who was connected with the divine, with source all the time. She was supported by her tribe. She didn't have to care for food or thing. She was really the one who could stay connected with source and divine and help people who did fall out of source, to heal them, to bring them back and she did that with rituals, with herbs, with plants, with medicine, and just with her presence. And when I told you that, then I suddenly had to admit that in a way I am a priestess. I'm doing this priestess work, but it's in the modern way. And I really said, yes, a modern high priestess, so then I can be part of this book. So that's how the whole story started with you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we don't always remember how we're connected to the divine feminine, how we're connected to source, how we're connected to the ancient ways of the feminine, the mother, the woman, the women, being the guides of the family, being the guides of the home, being the guides of the community to support us in healing, in staying connected, in remembering that things can be simple. It doesn't have to be really complicated. And it doesn't have to be overly done. It doesn't have to be overly done all the time. And we can heal each other. You know what's coming in right now is I remember you telling me a story of the priestesses who, when men went away to war, there were the priestesses that they went to before they went back to their wives and back to their homes, because they were helping them transform. Can you tell us that story again? Because I think it's such a pertinent story.
Yeah, so then we are really going very quickly, very deep.
Yeah. I think that's you. I think that's part of you, right? We quickly go deep.
Yeah, so that's just my image or my idea. So when men went to war, of course they were traumatized and had really bad experiences, and that the priestesses, the temple was there where they went, first of all, like washed, cleaned, and taking care of the physical wounds, but also taking care of the psychological wounds or the soul. And they did it with her presence, but also with her sexuality. So really the connection of sexuality and the divine, and from there really healing the husbands, that when they went back to their wives, they were there, they were present again. Otherwise they would have been traumatized and wouldn't have been able to really get back to their families.
Yeah. Yeah. And like that, that gift might be lost right now. Like that might be lost, that can be called back in a certain way. And I think this book, Modern-Day High Priestess, and I think your story and other women's stories, and that's not part of your story, that's just a story we're talking about for the priestesses. But there's all these things that we have forgotten that heal us, that connect us to source. And I really feel like the beauty of this book, and with having authors like you and Karina and Melissa and Valerie and Melody and Velia and Jennifer and all the Aquarius, all of the women that are in this book, we have a remembrance of a certain story that is ancient, and we're bringing it back for others to also remember, so that we can contribute to the healing and the transformation that the world requires right now. Today's modern world does require more support than ever to remember who we are. And what is your story about? Like, do you want to share a little bit about your story that you've written in the chapter, or or maybe the process of writing your chapter? Because you didn't write your chapter right away when you got into the book. You had a retreat and you had a big journey to North America that you made. Like, how did your chapter get inspired? How did you download your chapter, I guess?
I think it was really inspired by Mary Magdalene. And just to come back what I've ended, because I think, or I believe, that was the way Mary Magdalene has been healing, with her presence, with love, and with sexuality. And that could be also a point why they say that she was a prostitute, because, but it was a different kind of prostitute, And yeah, you were right. I was visiting you in Canada, and I had my retreat in south of France, where I guided women to places where Mary Magdalene might have been, with art of feminine presence. And after that retreat, I really could write my chapter, because before I really wasn't sure what is my main message, what is really the most important thing. And after retreat, I really realized, or I know, it's really in the presence. When we are really present, then we can create a sacred space. And in that sacred space, love can enter. And that's it. It sounds simple, but that's it. And that's what makes the transformation and what makes the healing.
Presence. Sacred
Presence
space.
and love.
Yeah. And being in the sacred space is you're the sacred space, your body, your ability to be present inside yourself. That's what I feel. Is that what you also feel too?
That's the first step. But if I'm really present and open to receive, then the divine love or source or whatever can be present here on earth. It's really like connection, like really connecting heaven and earth with each other. And then it just gets it's flow, and it's just happening, and you're just guided, and every moment feels like orchestrated in a perfect way. And this you can, of course, you can use it for your own life if you're really present, even when washing the dishes. Or I think that was the end of my book, that the modern high priestess doesn't need altars and smokes anymore. It's really the modern high priestess is in the grocery store, in the supermarket, in the bus, and bringing this presence of love wherever we go. And after retreat, I had really an interesting experiences. I was in the bus, and the bus was crowded. There were many people, and old women were like buh, 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 and young people were naughty, and I really could feel that I was contracting and hoping, when can I finally get out of this bus? It's too much in here. And in that moment, I asked myself, what would love do in this moment? And in this moment, my heart opened, my light globe expanded, and I was standing in this bus, and I felt it's so human. It's, of course, there are old people, but are chattering, and young are naughty, and I just was in this crowded bus, and I just loved everyone in this bus, and I was very happy. When I went out of the bus, and that was an amazing experience for myself, how easily you can change a situation.
Yeah, it is. And, even, that divine sexuality, that divine presence, love, it amplifies everything. Like it just enters and turns you on. It's like that's why there is that sexual energy. It's like you turn on, you get turned on, and you radiate, and you can't help but being love. You can't help but being joyful. You can't help but be present.
Exactly.
And we have that tool within ourselves. Like that is a technology within ourselves that we can access. And art of feminine presence is one of those tools to really help us do it in the grocery store.
Do it and feel it, exactly.
Yeah,
Or with the cashier, and and it's good for the world, but it's also good for ourselves, so we feel much better. And that's what I love when I work with women who are functioning and working all day long, and when they suddenly start to radiate again, to glow again, their power is coming back, the joy is coming back. It's really, that's why I love my work so much, when I can see that.
Yeah. And you're so graceful at it. And we've had lots of discussions around, your heart opening and what the power of the heart opening. And Mary Magdalene was always pointing to her heart, there's always in all of the graphics or the depictions is the heart has this radiance all around it. And then you also found when you're in France, the radiance all around her body too, like the light globe and everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So connecting the book and your chapter and your retreat and your travels, how has this project helped you step more fully into your role as a modern day high priestess? How has the book initiated you?
Yeah, so I started to write it, and I had everything together, and I really felt I'm missing something, but I didn't know what. So that's why I told you that I have to take a break. And after retreat, suddenly it was clear and I could finish it. And the main thing that initiated me in this book is that I really realized that one of my gifts is that I can hold sacred space for other people. And really, and that's still a little bit difficult, but realize that I am a spiritual teacher. And this high priestess word, which more sounds like esoteric to me, but it's more about feminine spirituality. So how the feminine, the way of the feminine, how it connects with earth, with the plants, but also with the heavens. And I think that's this part of the feminine is the one that has been suppressed even more than the rest of all. Because why did they repress it so much? Because it's the most powerful tool the feminine has. So that was really, and that I can speak it now that I am a spiritual teacher. There's still a little bit like, oh, wobbly. But before the book, I would have said, no, I'm not that. So, but also the feedbacks I got from a retreat that all talked about the spiritual retreat. And I didn't say it's a spiritual retreat, you know, and I really start to own that. Yeah.
It's nice. It is nice. I know that my experience, and I was saying this in the earlier live stream with Melissa, is like owning, you know, when I first signed up to co-create this book, Modern-Day High Priestess, I had to go through this initiation experience of priestess, like owning that and being able to say it. And what started happening was I just started doing it and going scared, like doing it and going scared. Just if I'm wobbling still, I'm still doing it, you know, and, you know, started to post about it, started to share stories about my priestess experience in my 20s and little stories here and there of all of the awakenings for me to remember that I'm connected to the priestess and to Isis and to Mary Magdalene and Kuan Yin and Green Tara and all of the goddesses that really remind us that we are powerful. Like we are powerful. And I love that you said that that's what's been most suppressed is this ancient technology that is really inside of us, our ability to hold sacred space and to channel the divine and facilitate the divine through us and be spiritual teachers. And that's why, you know, the subtitle for the book is Reclaiming Our Ancient Authority as Spiritual Leaders in Today's World. And, you know, Mary Magdalene was a spiritual leader.
Yes.
She was. And she was trained in the ancient ways. And, you know, she had to be called a prostitute and, you know, like suppressed and she, you know, written out of the books and all of that kind of stuff because her power was so powerful.
Exactly.
You know, but now we're rewriting the book.
Exactly. I was just thinking what you told me. So actually, it's a little bit, my whole book is like that because every step I took out of my comfort zone for example, when I did my first rituals, how do you say, like the equinoxes or summer solstice or things like that. When I started doing that, I was terrified. I was really terrified to death, but I still did it. And I still kept doing it and still kept doing it. And it took about 7 years until I could do it without fear. It took a long time, but that's what you said. So there is this fear, but by just going out of the comfort zone and just doing a little step in that direction, we really can reclaim that power back.
Yes. Yes. And the art of feminine presence, and I'm a art of feminine presence teacher as well. And I use the tools as well because they're so interchangeable. They're actually rememberings of ancient wisdom from long before that Rachel Jane, you know, wrote a book about and teaches it as well that we learn from. And whenever we're feeling that fear, it's just the fear of remembering the old wound that came with the fear. But that old wound doesn't exist anymore. That was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. And I was talking to a client this morning and saying, that's your mantra this week. That was then, this is now. And, you know, the old ways, the old suppression, all of that was then. But this is now, and we are remembering. I'm actually having deja vu at the moment too. But we've done this before, Anka. and maybe we wrote a book before, and now we're just rewriting it so that it gets published in today's modern world in a new way. When you said yes, and your chapters, is it submitted to the developmental editor now and
Yes.
waiting to come back to? Yeah, mine too. And we have decided to close enrollment for this book on November 1st, so we can launch, have our book launch party and our bestseller day on February 5th, 2026. And through this book, you really get a beautiful container of wise women who are connected to their source, connected to the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and are facilitators of spirit, of love, facilitators of love. And it's really that simple, that we can be facilitators of love, and just by being present wherever we are, even right now, being present, we're being facilitators of love.
Yeah.
And what a legacy that this book can carry through, with the wisdom of the stories that are coming through, the personal stories of transformation, of initiation, of struggle, from scarcity, from, suppression, from competition, and then really going with fear anyway, walking towards the fire and doing it anyway, becoming visible, stepping into more visibility so that we can share that love more often. And I'd like to invite you still. We're still inviting the authors in. We've got about 2 weeks to still bring in the authors that feel like this book is for them. And if you're feeling like, well, I don't have time and I don't know if my story's written yet, I don't have a retreat plan to download my story from, that's just Anka's experience, right? Like, we can support you with writing your story still, and you get published in a professional way, you get developmental editing, and you get marketing support and visibility support. You can come on live streams. We're creating a community of collaboration here, of powerful women who are, we're all really have each other's backs and really holding each other in a big hug and a big container of love. Heart opening. And it's ironic, our publisher's name is Heart Open Enterprises, so
yeah.
I mean, it's no coincidence. How do you feel being part of a sisterhood of wise women sharing sacred stories, Anka?
How do I feel? Yeah, because we are so far away from each other, it's really a sisterhood, not a physical sisterhood. So it's really a physical, not a physical, it's more energetical sisterhood. And I think feeling into the energy of other women who are also courageous and sharing their story and really want to have an impact on that, we can create heaven on earth, because I know it is possible. It was possible. It is possible. And it just needs women who are courageous to believe into this dream and not get resignated of everything which is happening in the world right now. no, it's the contrary, because everything is happening in the world right now. It's so important that the feminine wisdom is showing up. It's coming into the world because the masculine is just out of balance. The problem is only being out of balance because there's no strong feminine who can balance it. And if we just bring back the strong feminine energy, the masculine can balance again with the feminine. And right now it's like, whoa, it's stuck. We won't find a solution there. We need the feminine, not because it's better than the masculine, but we need the polarity and the balance again, that these energies can play with each others.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really
that.
beautiful.
Your hands are totally describing it. I love it.
And it's really beautiful to have other women, even if everyone is totally different than to what I do. Yeah, to feel, and I think this is encouraging that I'm not alone with this vision, that others are doing that too.
Yeah. Yes. And we need a lot of women. And it's not just going to be the women in this book that bring the whole world back into balance. That's why we need to be a best-selling book, so we have a bigger impact and a reach, and then we get into more women's hands, and we get into the men's buy our book as well, and we inspire the balance through story, through presence, through love, through being in the grocery store and on the bus, and when we're walking down the street, when we're cooking dinner, when we're on a live stream. You know, and it is energetic, and we can be in all different parts of the world, which we've all discovered recently in the last 3 or 4 years. We've all discovered we can be anywhere in the world and we can connect. We can connect. And we can feel each other's hearts expand over cameras. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing today, Anka. And I encourage you to reach out to either one of us with a DM or put in the comments, Priestess, if you're interested in learning more about the book or getting on the wait list for the book launch party, so you can help support us making an impact with this book in the world and bringing the balance back of the masculine and feminine in the world. Because I am so excited, like, what could happen? Like, I'm so curious, and I wonder, like, what could we create together in balance? What could that do? Really is. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching the replay, let us know if this inspired you and what you think of the balance that's coming back into the world. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anka.
Thank you also. Have a wonderful day.
You're welcome.